Research suggests that an Alzheimer's diagnosis could be determined by a single prick of the finger. Joining us now is Richard Elbein. He's the CEO for the Houston and Southeast Texas chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. All right, Richard, let's get right to it here and talk about the research. How does this work exactly, the prick of the finger?
Well, there were two studies that came out of the Alzheimer's Association International Conference that's going on now in Amsterdam. The finger prick study, which came out of Sweden. What's exciting about it is that was the whole story is they took a blood sample from a finger prick, just like what people do who have diabetes. And then they collected it on a card and dried it and then shipped it. And actually, so the study was done in Barcelona, Spain. They shipped those samples, not refrigerated, no special treatment, shipped them to Sweden, and then ran the blood tests to determine whether they had the compounds which indicate an Alzheimer's diagnosis. And so it's a pretty simple test. They were shipped overnight, not refrigerated. Like I say, just, pretty simple. There was another study that was also presented around blood, which looked, again, from Sweden, a different study that looked at the accuracy of using a blood test. And they showed that blood tests were 80% accurate at identifying someone with Alzheimer's related biomarker changes. And that's compared to a physician, and in the same study they had physicians try and accurately diagnose, and they were at about 55%. So it's a big game changer in terms of knowing that a blood test could more accurately identify Alzheimer's than most physicians are able to do at this time.
That can certainly be promising for the future, but let's talk about access here. With this now potentially being promising for the future, how can this really change the game for those being diagnosed with Alzheimer's?
Sure. Well, as I think a lot of people have heard, just recently we have a traditional approval of a medication that actually slows the decline of Alzheimer's disease. So that drug called Leqembi shows that it slows decline of about 27%. So that's significant. The challenge has been that it is really intended for people in the very early stages of Alzheimer's, and most people in America don't have access to a specialist who would be able to diagnose them early enough for it to be effective. So with a blood test, people could find out very early that they have Alzheimer's disease, and then they could go on this medication or one of the newer medications. There was another presentation at the international conference about yet another drug that's in the pipeline called donanemab, which slows the progression of the disease even more than the one that's been approved. So we're starting to really see some exciting breakthroughs in treatment, and what's needed is some really exciting breakthroughs in diagnosis as well.
All right, I have a feeling that is on the way. Richard, thank you so much for joining us here this evening.